Tonight, Governor Sheriff Oboriwori sues for continuous collaboration towards nation's sustainable development. First Lady throws weight against gender-based violence as 16 days activism kicks off. Governors Forum to sign Memorandum of Understanding with Nigerian Meteorological Agency to fight climate change. And abroad, Yamandu Oris wins Uruguay runoff presidential election. Very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on the Delta Television main news at 8. Joy Uche is my name. Nigerians have been called upon to continue to work towards the nation's sustainable development. Governor Sheriff Oboriwori made a call when a renowned Jewish preacher, Rabbi Kurt Schneider, visited him in Government House, Asaba. Ejime Udueme reports.
Governor Oboriwori highlighted the strong partnership between the state government and faith-based organizations and lauded Rabbi Schneider for his commitment to evangelism. He said Delta State was a fertile ground for the advancement of the gospel and attributed the giant strides in all sectors of the state's economy to God's divine mercy. He charged Rabbi Schneider and other religious leaders not to relent in interceding for the state.
So any man of God or any person that comes to come and bless this state, come and pray, we always welcome them. So we are grateful for your presence and for the vital work that you do in fostering unity in the body of Christ, promoting peace and social growth in our nation.
Earlier, Rabbi Schneider said he was in the state for a soul-winning crusade and to also pray for the revival of Nigeria and the African continent. The international preacher commended Governor Sheriff Oboriwori for putting God first in the state's activities and prayed God to give the governor the grace to remain in faith. Rabbi Schneider reminded all of the need to maintain an intimate relationship with God, who had solutions to all challenges of humanity.
African people have been bruised by trauma and pain and chaos. And I believe the Lord sent me to Africa in 1982. He gave me the call. And that through my life, he releases healing and wholeness and hope into the life of this continent. And so that's why I'm here today.
Highlight of the visit was prayers for the state and its leaders. Ejime Udueme reporting.
Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu has thrown her weight against gender-based violence, saying the start of 16 days activism against the trend was a welcomed development. In a statement, Senator Tinubu said formal education for the girl child was key to liberating them and helping them make informed choices. According to the First Lady, gender-based violence remained one of the most widespread human rights violations, with nearly 1 in 3 women worldwide experiencing physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. She acknowledged that in Nigeria, harmful practices like child marriage and female genital mutilation are still prevalent, often justified by cultural or religious norms. The State Ministry of Women Affairs, in collaboration with the World Health Organization, WHO, and other development partners, today commenced 16 days of activism against gender-based violence with the theme, Unite to End Violence Against Women and Girls, as part of activities marking this year's International Day of Elimination of Violence Against Women. Esther Oputer reports.
The rally, which commenced from the Professor Chike Edozian Secretariat, Asaba, to the Midbury Market, Okpanam Road, Asaba, saw the social activists carry placards and banners with various inscriptions, including "Say No to Rape," "End Violence Against Children," "End Violence Against Women and Girls," equal right to education. Addressing the participants at the roadwork, the State Commissioner for Women Affairs, Community and Social Development, Honorable Pat Ajudwa, said the fight against gender-based violence was geared towards a society that allows both genders strive on a level playing field. She appreciated Governor Sheriff Oborewori and his wife, Deaconess Tobore Oborewori, for their support in the fight against all forms of violence against women and the girl child. Honorable Ajudwa also appreciated other stakeholders in the fight against GBV, including the Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, NAWOJ, the Association of Female Accountants, the World Health Organization, WHO, the Working Fingers International, and other civil society groups.
So I want to urge you to go back to your various places of operation, continue this fight against gender-based violence. It is 16 days activities. You must create activities within these 16 days, starting from today being 25th of November 2024 until the closing day, which is the 10th of December 2024.
The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Women Affairs, Mrs. Ogenekewe Agas, said the rally and other activities for the 16 days activism had been mapped out to create awareness on the need to end gender-based violence, adding that every 25th of November was set aside to sensitize the populace on the need to eliminate GBV from the society. She outlined forms of violence to include rape, female genital mutilation, inhuman widowhood rights, physical and emotional abuse.
A season set apart for us to draw attention to the issues of gender-based violence, map out actions on how we want to combat it.
The chairman of the Delta State NAWOJ, Comrade Sonia Unobonjo, decried the high rate of violence against women and called for synergy in the fight, especially in reporting any case of violence.
That every human being is important, whether male or female, children or adults. Let's live as one. Together we can make it.
The Director of Communications, Fostering Hope Foundation, Comrade Patrick Oche, said women and girls were not the only ones who suffered GBV, stressing that male children are also molested and suffer violence from the opposite sex.
A lot of women who think it's all about women. It's also close to say where there are some women, who are violent against men, who beat up men. So what we're saying is that it is not good, for family peace and family unity. And we don't train our children in a very violent home.
Others, including the Executive Director of Working Fingers, Comrade Aries Jewo Ebi, the Zonal Secretary in Award, Comrade Eunice Amezia, President Serotomis International Asaba, Best Sister Uche Onuma, urged the public not to hold back any information that could help deal with the perpetrators of GBV. Activities marking the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women continue with the 16 days of activism against GBV. Esther Oputa reporting.
Girls have been advised to take action in tackling gender-based violence in the society. The member representing Oshimili South constituency in the State House of Assembly, Honorable Bridget Sayafulu, gave the advice during the 48th anniversary of the St. Bridget's Girls Grammar School Old Students Association, class of 1984, with the theme, Preparing the Girl Child for Leadership, held in Asaba. Violet Moye has details of the report.
Ayafulu expressed concern over gender-based violence in the society and highlighted its far-reaching consequences and need for collective action against the menace. She emphasized the importance of education in addressing gender-based violence against women and girls, while citing relevant laws in the state aimed at combating gender violence.
That thing is a distraction. The one that matters is your education. Have all the skills that you can have.
The State Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs, Community Support Services and Girl Child Development, Honorable Orode Odwaga, who was the keynote speaker, presented a lecture titled Preparing the Girl Child for Leadership. Drawing upon her experience and insights, the Commissioner called on the students to prioritize their education and skills development. The chairman on the occasion and Chairman Board of Directors of the Delta Broadcasting Service, DBS Warri, Chief Moses Odibo, commended the Old Girls Association for the celebration and called on other Old Students Association of the school to emulate the class of 1984.
The example they are giving today is part of the leadership they learned from this place. To be here with you today, class of 84, put your hands together for yourself.
In their goodwill messages, a former Commissioner of Women Affairs, Social and Community Development in the state, Chief Chinonye Dafe, who represented the chairman of the State Civil Service Commission, Lady Roslyn Amioko, enjoined the students to get involved in sports. The General Manager of the Delta Broadcasting Service, DBS Asaba, Mrs. Christine Jobome Emetulu, advised the students to believe in themselves in the pursuit of their academic excellence.
Career in sports. You can have a lot of career activities in sports. You can be a referee, you can be a coach, you can be a lifeguard, you can be a judge, you can be a doctor, sports medicine. We don't even have anybody, I don't see any female in sports medicine.
Intelligent students, I see brilliant students, I see competent students. It's because I do not want you to seek validation from any other person. I do not want you to turn to A or B to approve you.
The event featured cultural dance by the students, the cutting of the 40th anniversary cake, and presentation of awards to their former teachers by the old students of the school. Violet Monye reporting.
The Nigerian Meteorological Agency limits and the Nigeria Governors Forum, NGF, said they will sign a memorandum of understanding to strengthen their collaboration against climate change. A statement by NIMET said the collaboration is in the interest of Nigeria's continued socio-economic development. Speaking at a meeting at NGF's office in Abuja over the weekend, Director General and Chief Executive Officer of NIMET, Professor Charles Anosike, said that the formal relationship between the NGF and NIMET is in the best interest of the country as it will benefit the people. Continuing, Professor Anosike said that the NIMET and NGF believe strongly that something should be done to mitigate the impact of climate change and will sign an MOU to guide their relationship. Professor Anosike said that weather and climate information are critical to the sustainable economic development of our people. He also said that NIMET's seasonal climate prediction, SCP, is an early warning tool in support of the United Nations Early Warning for All, EW for All initiative championed by the WMO. On his part, the Director General of the Nigeria Governors Forum, Alhaji Abdulateef Shitu, said that climate change is impacting economic well-being nationally and globally. Concluding, Alhaji Shitu said climate change is all about mitigation and adaptation. The state's proposed 2025 appropriation bill, when passed by the State House of Assembly, will greatly contribute to the success of the more agenda of the state government. Commissioners for Finance, Sir Fidelis Teluje, and Economic Planning, Mr. Sani Ikedayon, stated this when their ministries appeared before the House of Assembly Committee on Finance and Appropriation to defend their budgets. Sir Teluje, in an interview, said Deltans would have more strides of the Governor Sheriff Oboriwori's-led administration in critical sectors of the economy, particularly in agriculture next year. He maintains that there would be clear economic variables that would drive the system, thereby ensuring a direct positive impact on the state and Deltans in general. The commissioner reaffirms that the state government would not borrow to fund the 2025 budget, adding that government would carefully manage its resources. He explains that the budget will be funded from internally generated revenue (IGR) and allocation from the Federal Allocation Accounts Committee (FAC). Commissioner for Economic Planning, Mr. Sani Ikedayan, emphasized the role of the state government in ensuring food security, hence the proposed budget of 7 billion naira for agriculture. He stressed that the Ministry of Agriculture would roll out programs and policies aimed at boosting food production, thereby ensuring food security. Mr. Ikedayan said government would work to increase food production so as to crush the price of food items for the common man. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Dr. Wale Edun, has said the federal government's decision to remove the petrol subsidy and adopt a market-based pricing for foreign exchange has saved the nation as estimated $20 billion. Dr. Edun stated this at an event in Abuja, marking the first 100 days in office of the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Esther Wells-Jack. He said the subsidies used to cost 5% of Nigeria's gross domestic product, GDP, noting that things had changed now. The minister emphasized the significance of the savings, breaking down their potential impact. Dr. Edun also said that the funds, which had previously been drained through subsidies, were now being redirected into the government's coffers for critical developmental projects. The minister noted that inefficiencies in the petrol subsidy system, which previously allowed individuals to profit significantly with minimal contribution to the economy, had been reduced. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Didi Wells-Jack, has confirmed that the federal government's investigation into civil servants who continue to receive salaries after relocating abroad is still ongoing. Addressing concerns at an event in Abuja marking her 100 days in office, Mrs. Wells-Jack clarified that the investigation has not been abandoned. She assured that the government was committed to identifying individuals who are benefiting from the system after moving abroad for better opportunities. This investigation follows an order from President Bola Tinubu 5 months ago, demanding that civil servants who remain on the payroll while living abroad refund the money. The president also instructed that those responsible for enabling such practices, including supervisors and departmental heads, be held accountable. Mrs. Wells-Jack revealed that the investigation is using the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System, IPPIS, to track civil servants' movements, aiming to identify those still abroad. She noted that some individuals had already returned to Nigeria, while others had retired. Mrs. Wells-Jack also addressed job racketeering in the civil service, vowing to work closely with the Federal Civil Service Commission to eliminate fraudulent recruitment practices. She assured that an individual who obtained a job through unlawful means will be sanctioned. The National Automotive Development Design and Council, NADDC, in collaboration with Dassault Systems Solid Works Corporation, has organized a capacity building training for engineers in automotive components in Asaba. Henry Onogwa reports.
The Director General of the NADDC, Mr. Joseph Oluemimo, who addressed the gathering via Zoom, said the training was to enhance components parts development and achieve the Council's objective in developing the automotive industry in Nigeria. He added that the training would enhance the technical capabilities and skills of the NADDC staff by enabling automotive engineers design and develop automotive policies, programs on vehicle components and parts, adding that it will strengthen good governance structure, ensure organizations operate efficiently, transparently, and accountably. The Director General enjoined the participants to use the software training to promote economic diversification, reduce Nigeria's dependency on oil exports, and ensure the growth of other sectors.
We want to build the capacity of the stakeholders, especially the vehicle assemblers and vehicle manufacturers in Nigeria. Why do we have to have this kind of training? You will agree with me that technology is changing, and the technology is changing the way we are doing business. In everything we do, we have to respond to the way technology is changing. We need to be prepared so that we will be able to produce this thing locally. And if you don't have the basic technology, the basic idea of how we can produce this, then we will never be able to take that step forward toward production.
The Director of Research, Design and Development in the Council, Mr. Fidelis Achieve, said the training would improve organizational stability. He noted that the place of component parts in vehicles in the country was vital, adding that it had created job opportunities for millions of people.
We bring in vehicles that are wholly built, some new, some fairly used, and that is not adding value to our economy. The DG wants a situation where these vehicles that are brought in are not just brought in for sale, but value addition in terms of component development is done to it. When there is value addition, the multiplier effect is much. That is, jobs will be created, foreign exchange will be saved.
The business manager, Business Development SolidWorks, Coscaris Technology Limited, Mr. Clement Nedu, said the training would help engineers develop local contents in the area of reverse engineering technology, adding that with the software training, vehicle spare parts would no longer be scarce in the market.
What we are doing now is to make them realize they can go to the council, National Automotive Council. Because if you go to the National Automotive Council, you will see a lot of conditions. You can come in with your product. You bring your product to the National Automotive Council, and they look at what you have created. And then you can go into entrepreneurship in partnership with the National Automotive Council. It's there, it's on the website.
Some of the participants appreciated the organizers and expressed satisfaction with the workshop, saying the training would contribute to poverty reduction in the country.
It kind of increases our knowledge and skills that will build engineers to be able to, develop component parts that will be used in developing local content.
The workshop is a very good one because it's about designs and simulations, which is something very important for the OEMs, especially the OEMs that have the intention of expanding their operations to include the production of local components.
Henry Onogwa reporting.
The Director General of the Delta State Orientation and Communications Bureau, Dr. Fred Oganesere, said Governor Sheriff Oboriwori will remain focused on the state's infrastructure and socio-economic developments. Dr. Oganesere stated this in a radio program in Warri. He said recent attacks on a former governor of the state, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, indicated that opposition political parties had become uncomfortable with the excellent scorecard of Governor Sheriff Oboriwori, noting that detractors may have reasoned that denting Senator Okowa's image may affect the performance of PDP in the 2027 governorship election. Dr. Oganesere gave an assurance that the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the state would not allow Senator Okowa's detractors to tarnish his enviable reputation ahead of the 2027 general elections, pointing out that against all odds, Senator Okowa would spring surprises in Nigeria's political landscape in the near future. He said Governor Oboriwori was focused on delivering dividends of democracy to all Deltans, irrespective of political and religious affiliation, stressing that the governor's performance would speak loud and clear at the polls in 2027. Christians have been advised to understand the dynamics of dreams in their lives, as dreams determine one's true identity. Pastor Roy Nabuife of the Mountain of Fire Miracle Ministry, Asaba, gave the charge today during Delta Broadcasting Service DBS Asaba Monday prayer session held at the station's premises. Asaba. Gift Onosha reports.
Pastor Nabuife preached unveiling with negative dreams, saying dreams determine how successful one could be in life, adding that dreams represented a symbol of one's destiny. He said God uses dreams to communicate with his believers. The Mountain of Fire and Miracle Ministry cleric said God uses dreams to reveal deeper things to mankind and enjoined believers to be fervent in prayers, seek counsel when they dream, be spiritually equipped with the Word of God, and have faith in God by holding onto Him at all times.
There are so many information that God reveals through dreams. That's why dreams are very important. Many of us, we joke with our dreams. Your dreams determine how far you go. If you look at that scripture very well, the Bible says, for God speaketh once. Amen. Yea, twice, yet man perceived it not. And God decided to use dream to be speaking to so many of us. But unfortunately, when we go to bed, what God is showing to us, the enemy will not allow us to see that very much. Praise the name of the Lord.
The prayer section featured praises, worship, and prayers for the growth and development of the broadcast station. Gift Unosha reporting.
Government has assured Nigerians on all key stakeholders of adequate low sulfur fuel and compressed natural gas promotion. Minister of Environment, Mr. Balarabe Lawal, stated this in Abuja while inaugurating the Interagency Committee on Fuels, which promotes using low sulfur fuel and compressed natural gas, CNG. He said using cleaner fuels will significantly reduce air pollution and human health challenges caused by high sulfur in petroleum products. The minister added that high sulfur fuels had been linked to rising cases of asthma attacks, acute and chronic bronchitis, chronic obstructive lung diseases, and many other ailments. Mr. Lawal stated that the Nigeria Industrial Standards for Sulfur Concentration in Petrol, Diesel, and Kerosene had been reviewed, which was made possible by the ministry's mandate and the support of the critical stakeholders. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mr. Festus Keyamo, has said effective next January, the federal government will not approve any international airlines flight schedules who have not engaged local caterers services for their outbound flights. Mr. Keyamo's comments came amidst controversy over his directive on October 15 that foreign airlines should patronize local caterers for outbound flights. In a fresh update to the directive, Mr. Keyamo explains that the move was to ramp up the aviation sector to meet up with President Bola Tinubu's $1 trillion economy. According to him, the country will retain close to $1 billion in annual revenue for outbound meals by foreign airlines if the directive was implemented. He insisted that foreign airlines that don't want to comply with the directive should quit flights to Nigeria. The National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, has announced that the new National Identification Number, NIN card, will serve as a multi-purpose tool for identification and financial transactions. The head of the NIMC Corporate Communications, Mr. Kayode Adegoke, and the Director of Card Management Services of the Commission, Mr. Peter Iwebu, in an interview with journalists, said the new NIN enabled users to conduct transactions such as ATM withdrawals, online payments, and money transfers. That explains that while the NIN remained a core element of identity verification in Nigeria, the linked card offers extensive utility. According to the officials, the NIMC was partnering with various stakeholders, including Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, NIBSS, to implement the card's financial features. This initiative is expected to provide value to banks while including previously underserved Nigerians in financial systems. The Abia State government has cautioned against unauthorized provision of healthcare services and drug distribution by uncertified individuals or groups conducting free medical missions across the state. This warning follows reports of over 20 individuals collapsing during a medical outreach in Abiriba, Ohafia local government area over the weekend. The victims reportedly experienced adverse reactions after receiving medication and were rushed to a nearby hospital for treatment. Commissioner for Health, Professor Enoch Ogbonnaya Uche, revealed that the organizers of the outreach had failed to obtain approval from the state's Ministry of Health. Preliminary investigations suggest that the medications administered may have triggered adverse drug reactions among recipients. According to the commissioner, the affected individuals are currently receiving treatment at designated public health facilities, where medical personnel are working to stabilize their conditions. Professor Uche stated that the Abia State Ministry of Health was deeply concerned about the risk posed by unauthorized healthcare activities. He emphasized that medical missions conducted without official authorization from the Commissioner for Health are illegal and pose significant risk to public health. The commissioner further added that the state government prioritizes health care and safety of its residents. Philanthropists, sponsors, and individuals interested in providing free healthcare services in Abia State are encouraged to obtain written approval from the Ministry of Health. The government has declared all unauthorized medical missions illegal and prohibited. Professor Uche urged residents to report any suspected illegal healthcare activities to the Ministry of Health to combat medical quackery and safeguard public health. The Nigerian Air Force, NAF, has confirmed destruction of a terrorist food bank in the Jubilaram area of the Lake Chad Basin by the air components of Operation Hadinkai, ACOPHK. NAF's Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Olushola Akimboyewa, said the airstrike also led to destruction of terrorist logistical operations. He added, several terrorists were neutralized in the strikes. In a statement he signed, Air Commodore Akimboyewa said intelligence previously linked terrorists in the area to past attacks on troops in Karitu on 16 November 2024. The NAF will sustain these robust, independent and joint operations until all enemies of Nigeria's prosperity and well-being are brought to justice. The online application into the Nigerian Defense Academy NDA Kaduna for the 77th regular course has commenced and will end on Wednesday, 30th April 2025. A statement by the Director of Public Communication and Functioning Permanent Secretary in the State's Ministry of Information, Ms. Teresa Oliko, says admission is open to both male and female candidates, adding that candidates who are Deltans should visit the application portal on the NDA website at www.ndaapplications.net to register by clicking or selecting the Purchase Access Code to fill in their details and pay 7,000 Naira only to obtain order ID, remitter, retrieval, reference, RRR code. The statement also enjoined applicants to apply in the forthcoming 2025 Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, JAM, and choose NDA as their first choice of institution and score 210 points for engineering and 180 points for arts. Social science and science course will be enabled to print the screening test admission card and be considered for the screening tests. Interested candidates are expected to attend the screening test scheduled on Saturday, 24th May 2025 at the Army Day Secondary School of Supply and Transport, NSST, Ogbowo, Benin City in Edo State. Candidates have been requested to come along with acknowledgement form, screening test admission card, JAM result slip, and 2 postcard-sized photographs to the screening test center. The photograph should show only from the chest upwards and must bear the candidate's name, examination number, state, exam center, course of study, and signature at the back. Only successful candidates at the NDA screening test will be invited for interview by the Armed Forces Selection Board, upon which the list of admitted candidates will be published. The statement explains that candidates admitted into the NDA for the 77th regular course would undergo both military and academic training as officer cadets for 5 years, and on successful completion of the extensive training, graduates will earn an honors degree in a core discipline and a presidential commission into the Armed Forces of Nigeria. The December 2024 series of examination, usually conducted for different categories of junior staff by the State Directorate of Establishments and Pensions, have been scheduled for Friday, 6th to Saturday, 7th December 2024. A government statement says the examination will hold at the Staff Training Center, Asaba, and the Huse College in Warri. The statement said the affected examination are limited competitive examination for messengers, cleaners, sub-technical and allied grades, confirmation and promotion examination for clerical assistant, salary grade level 03, confirmation and promotion examination for clerical officers, salary grade level 04, adding that the examination will start at 2 p.m. on Friday, 6th, and 9 a.m. on Saturday, 7th December. It added that a one-day refresher course has been scheduled to hold for candidates of the examinations on Thursday at the Staff Training Center, Asaba, by 9 a.m. Still to come on the Delta Television main news at 8, Yamandu Oris wins Uruguay run-off presidential election. Details shortly. Stay with us.
It's the Glow Festival of Joy, and it's bringing exciting prizes. Oh, for 120 days, we take it to the max. Mind-blowing, loaded prizes. Take John, winning a tear rubber Toyota Prado by recharging up to 100,000 naira. And Sister T, winning a Cha-Cha Canto by recharging up to 50,000 naira.
Yes, the gifts are unloading joy all over Nigeria.
From Toyota Prados to Kia Picantos, Keke Napes, generators, sewing machines, and even grinding machines. Just dial *611#. Choose your prizes, recharge the value for the month, and you too can win.
Whoa, you too can win, oh!
Staying on, you are watching the Delta Television main news at 8. The global scene is next as we join our World News Desk.
The
United States Special Presidential Envoy to the Middle East reportedly told the Israeli ambassador to Washington that if the Israeli authorities did not support a ceasefire agreement with Lebanon, he would stop mediating in the talks. The report stated that Israel was moving closer to accepting a ceasefire agreement with Lebanon, but there was still some work to be done. U.S. Special Presidential Envoy to the Middle East, Amos Houston, had earlier arrived in Beirut on an official visit to hear the position of Lebanon and Hezbollah on the point of the agreement proposed by the U.S. side for a ceasefire with the Israeli regime. The center-left opposition candidate Yamando Osei secured a victory in the Uruguay's presidential election. Official results showed yesterday with 97% of votes tallied, ousting the conservative governing coalition and making the South American nation the latest to rebuke the incumbent party in a year of landmark elections. Mr. Yamando Osei, the pre-election favorite by a few points, secured 49.77% of the votes to conservative Alvaro Delgado's 45.94%. Both Delgado and Uruguay's president, fellow National Party member Luis Lacalle conceded the election, swiftly congratulating Mr. Osei and offering to help with the transition after results signaled a victory for the center-left. They expressed goodwill for their political opposition and pledged to work together to move the country forward. Tens of thousands of protesters are marching towards Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, as part of nationwide protests calling for the release of former Prime Minister Imran Khan. The march was in response to a final protest call made by Mr. Khan to his supporters, where he also called on them to remain in the capital until the government addresses their demands. Mr. Khan, 72, is serving a 3-year jail term for corruption, a charge he denies. Despite his legal troubles, he remained popular in Pakistan. Authorities had put the capital under lockdown, blocking highways and suspending mobile and internet services in certain areas. The march, which began yesterday, had seen police using tear gas against protesters and reportedly arresting hundreds of people. Mr. Khan's wife and former First Lady Mrs. Bushra Bibi is among those leading the rallies. At least 24 people have died after 2 boats carrying mostly Somali nationals capsized off the coast of Madagascar. A statement from Somalia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said efforts were underway to ensure the safe return of the survivors. The 2 boats carried a total of 70 passengers. The vessels were discovered adrift off Madagascar's north coast at the weekend in the Indian Ocean. It is believed their engines had failed. A senior Somalian government official told newsmen that the survivors were rescued by fishermen. Survivors said they were trying to reach the French island of Mayotte, a common but dangerous route for Somali migrants seeking asylum. Unemployment and poverty in the Horn of Africa has forced many young people to undertake the perilous route to reach Europe in the hopes of a better life. Madagascar authorities warned against the severe risk associated with illegal migration, suggesting the victims of the tragedy were migrants.
Let's now join our business news desk for more happenings in the business sector.
Nigeria's gross domestic product (GDP) has grown by 3.46% in real terms in the third quarter of 2024 on a year-on-year basis. This is according to today's GDP report published by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS), which shows that the growth represents a 3.19% increase from the one recorded in the second quarter of 2024. This growth rate is higher than the 2.54% recorded in the third quarter of 2023 and higher than the second quarter of 2024 growth of 3.19%. In the quarter under review, aggregate GDP at basis price stood at 71.1 million naira in nominal terms. This performance is higher when compared to the third quarter of 2023, which recorded an aggregate GDP of 60.6 million naira, indicating a year-on-year nominal growth of 17.26%. The MBS said the growth in the GDP was driven mainly by the service sector. It said the sector had a growth rate of 5.19% and contributed 53.58% to the aggregate GDP, underscoring its increasing importance to the country's economy. The MBS said the agriculture sector grew by 1.14% from the growth of 1.30% recorded in the fourth quarter of 2023. The growth of the industry sector was 2.18%, an improvement from 0.46% recorded in the fourth quarter of 2023. The MBS said the quarter under review, Nigeria had an average daily oil production of 1.47 million barrels per day, higher than the daily average production of 1.45 million barrels per day, recorded in the same quarter of 2023 by 0.02 million barrels per day, and higher than the second quarter of 2024 production volume of 1.41 million barrels per day by 0.07 million barrels per day. The rate growth of the oil sector was 5.17% in the fourth quarter of 2024, indicating an increase of 6.02 percentage points relative to the rates recorded in the corresponding quarter of 2023. But the non-oil sector grew by 3.37% in real terms during the reference quarter of the third quarter of 2024. Similarly, the National Bureau of Statistics has reported a decline in Nigeria's unemployment rate to 4.3% in the second quarter of 2024. The NBS noted that the unemployment rate decreased from 5.3% recorded in the first quarter of 2024, reflecting an improvement in the labor market. The Bureau defines the unemployment rate as a proportion of the labor force comprising individuals who are either employed or actively seeking employment, that is unemployed but actively searching and available for work. Justin Madu has said, Assistant Oshola remains an integral member of his team. Oshola was promoted from the 20-player squad released by Madu yesterday for the Super Falcons' upcoming international friendly against France. The AFC striker was also not called for the team's double combat friendly against Algeria last month. Madu, who has however revealed that the 30-year-old was left out of the game against France due to a documentation problem.
Somebody that sometimes you look at her like a magical player, you cannot predict what she can do. You will give her the opportunity around the ball to play well.
The Super Falcons will face France and Anvers on Saturday in an international friendly. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has charged his players to be completely committed to the club's cause ahead of tomorrow's UEFA Champions League clash against visiting Feyenoord, as his strongly team need to point at get the run of results. City losing streak spread to 5 matches when Tottenham Hotspur returned the Premier League champions with a 4-0 win at the Etihad Stadium on Saturday, marking the first time Guardiola has lost 5 games in a row in his managerial career. It was also the first time they have lost 5 consecutive matches in all competitions since April 2006. Their defeat left second place City 8 points ahead of Liverpool, who they visit on Sunday. Their campaign has been lingered by a rash of injuries with Ballon d'Or winner Rodri, centre-back Ruben Dias, midfielder Mateo Kovacic, plus winger Jeremy Doku and Oscar Brown, among those facing spells in the side. Guardiola, who signed a 2-year contract extension at City last week, has led them to 18 major trophies, including 6 Premier League titles and 1 Champions League crown. City are 10th in the 36th Champions League table, with 7 points from 4 points. 2 points of the automatic qualification places. Feyenoord are 1 behind to the fourth. They have been boosted by the return of Belgian midfielder Kevin De Bruyne, who played on for the last 15 minutes to the Sunday after recovering from an injury picked up in their 2-1 win over Brentford in the Premier League in September.
to the heights of greatness. Please continue. Nigerians have been called upon to continue to work towards the nation's sustainable development. Governor Charles Igoro will recall when a renowned Jewish preacher, Rabbi Curtis Snyder, visited William Captain House at Savannah. First Lady Senator Oluyemi Tinubu has thrown her weight against gender-based violence, saying the start of 16 days activism-based retreat was a wrong-time development. In a statement, Senator Tinubu said following education protocol trial was key to eliminating them and helping to break informed choices. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency minutes and the Nigerian Governor's Forum ended at said they would sign a memorandum of understanding to strengthen the collaboration against climate change. A statement by minutes said the collaboration is in the interest of Nigeria's continued socio-economic development. Overall, the report that center-left opposition candidate Yamanji also secured victory in the Uruguay's presidential election. Official results showed on Sunday, with 97% of votes tallied, ousting the conservative government coalition and making the South American nation the latest to rebuke the incumbent party in a year of landmark elections. Remarkable for the pre-election figures that the Prince secured 39.77% of the votes, the Conservative